Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Once again, thank you all so much. We are continuing with Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 8. Chapter number 6, which is Dhyana Yoga. And we will continue with from where we left off. And that is verse number 11. So we're going to recite verse number 11 now. Bhagavad Gita, Dhyana Yoga. The verses that we covered up till now were all talking about Ashtanga Yoga. And as I mentioned last Tuesday, we are going to talk in detail about Ashtanga Yoga, starting with verse number 11. Verse 11 and 12, they are joined together. So I'm going to recite the Sanskrit first. Shucho deshe pratisthapya sthiram asanam atmanaha nati uchritam nati nicham chelag china kushotaram tatraikagram manah kritva yata chitendriya kriyaha upavishyasane yunchyat yogam atma vishuddhaye. Excuse me, translation by Srila Prabhupada. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. Om Agyanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So as we can see, there is a description about how one should practice Ashtanga Yoga. The whole purpose of the yoga system is to understand the Supreme Lord who is situated in the heart. He should be our ultimate goal and the object of our yoga practice. Now, this verse that we read just now is giving us instructions, in other words, knowledge about how to practice Ashtanga Yoga. So the first requirement is that we have to be going to a secluded place, which means we cannot practice Ashtanga Yoga in the house or in the office or any other place where there are other people around. No, it has to be a secluded place, maybe like a forest. And there, to practice Ashtanga Yoga, first we have to put kusha grass. That's a special kind of grass available. So we lay the kusha grass on the ground and then we put the deer skin on it and then cover it with a soft cloth. And the seat should not be neither too high nor too low. And most importantly, that place where we are going to perform Ashtanga Yoga must be a sacred place. And once we find that and we have the seat ready, then one must sit firmly with the back completely straight, not, with a, whatever you call it, a couch or whatever. No, it has to be straight. And the mind should be fixed on the Supreme Lord Krishna. And the whole purpose of practicing this form of Ashtanga Yoga is so that one can purify the heart. Now, why does the heart need purification? Because it does have some impurities, maybe in a little degree or a larger degree, that doesn't matter. But usually there is there are impurities in the heart, like lust, anger, greed, pride, envy. So all that needs to be removed. All that contamination or impurity needs to be removed from the heart. So that is the reason why yoga practice is recommended. And how can purification take place? Krishna explains to Arjuna by controlling the mind, the senses, and our activities. That is real Ashtanga yoga. Not we practice yoga to kind of maybe lose some weight, or maybe for good health, which is good. Good health is also necessary, but it's important to understand the real purpose of yoga practice. That is very, very important. Once we can understand that, then we can follow this path of yoga practice. Now, the aspiring yogis, those who want to become real yogis, they must live alone. They should be free from fear and attachment. And they need to sit still, not standing or, or sleeping. No, they have to sit still, which means the mind should be completely focused on the Supreme Lord, who is situated in the heart as the super soul. Now, this verse also talks about a sacred place. Now, where do we find a sacred place? One may say, oh, it's so difficult to go, maybe to some holy places in India or wherever. It's very difficult to do that, especially if we are in the family life, we are living with family or whatever it may be, work situation. But the good news is we can make our home a sacred place. How? Just by sound vibrations. When we chant the holy names of the Lord, automatically those powerful sound vibrations, they purify the house, and the house becomes sanctified. So that place is considered to be holy, sacred, or sanctified. There's no need to go to the forest. It's not even practical. How can we leave our families and jobs and everything and go to the forest just to perform Ashtanga yoga? That's not possible. Maybe it is possible, but it's very difficult. Now the question may arise, why is Krishna talking about kusha grass and a deer skin on kusha grass? Now this is for those Ashtanga yogis, excuse me, who used to practice Ashtanga yoga in the forest. Now in the forest, there are no, excuse me, there are no other human beings around. You're the only one in the forest. And in the forest, normally we find animals and, it's not a safe place. So the purpose of the deer skin is that that deer skin has a chemical effect that can keep all the reptiles and the snakes away, so that there is no disturbance in the practice of yoga. So here, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna the process of Ashtanga yoga just to help him understand what exactly is Ashtanga yoga. Here he is saying to live alone. Why? Because it's important to fix the mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why one needs to sit straight? Because the mind needs to be focused so that it can come under control. But there is a simple method of controlling the mind, a very simple method in which we don't need to go to the forest. We don't need to, lay kusha grass or a deer skin or a soft cloth. There's no need for any of that. In this age, in this material world, there's a simple process given to us by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And that easy process to control the mind and senses is mantra meditation, where we meditate on sound vibrations, because those spiritual sound vibrations are very, very powerful. And the mantra which is recommended is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These are the sound vibrations recommended for purification, which with the help of purification, automatically the senses and the mind will come under control. It's good to go to yoga classes for good health or better health or whatever it may be, but that is on the material platform. Here we are talking about real yoga which is connected to spirituality. So if we follow the instructions of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, then it'll be easy to control the senses. Now we see Arjuna, he is very confused. He is lamenting, he's morose. He doesn't know what is right, what is wrong. And that is why he accepted Krishna as his guru, as a bona fide spiritual master, so that the guru can explain to him how he can get rid of that moroseness and how he can remain happy permanently. Usually the mind is disturbed, but to perform Ashtanga yoga, the mind has to be undisturbed. There should be full concentration. And that's actually not very practical in the age that we are living. Why? Because the Vedas, the Vedas are very vast, and the essence of the Vedas is called the Srimad-Bhagavatam. The books that you see at the back behind me, that is the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which, gives us knowledge about us, about the people in this age, which is called Kali Yuga. What are the disqualifications? Generally, people in this age are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, short-lived. So there are all these disqualifications that brings about anxiety. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us how we can come to that stage of self-realization just by following the process given in the Bhagavad Gita. And sense control becomes very easy. It's much, much easier than going to the forest and performing Ashtanga yoga. The Lord Krishna himself, he came down on this earthly planet 540 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he gave us the process. He says, Harirnam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, 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 Gatir Anyatha. He explains that in this Kali, in this Kali Yuga, there is no other way, no other way, no other way except chanting, chanting, chanting. He is repeating it 3 times because it's very, very important. So to really understand the Bhagavad Gita also, just like if you want to learn something in this life, maybe music, dancing, karate, software, anything that we want to learn, we definitely need a bona fide teacher. So similarly, even to understand Bhagavad Gita, we need someone who's certified, someone who's bona fide, who can explain the Bhagavad Gita. Now let us see what Krishna is going to talk about in the very next verse, which is also double verses 13 and 14. Translation. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. So here you see, after teaching Arjuna the proper sitting procedure, the process of sitting properly, now Krishna is teaching him how to meditate. Meditation is not that easy that, okay, we, find a yoga mat and we sit down and we close our eyes and we meditate. It's not that simple. That meditation will not really give us or help us reach our ultimate goal. Yes, maybe that may make us feel a little relaxed for some time, or maybe for some, help us to fall asleep. But here Krishna is talking about real yoga, which means he's saying that one should be sitting erect for meditation and not close the eyes. The eyes should be half closed, half open, because here he's saying one should steadily Keep staring at the tip of the nose. I try to do that. Actually, it gives a headache because how long can you stare at the tip of your nose? It hurts. And then he says a person should be unagitated, must be fixed, unshaken, and sit properly, holding oneself in a straight line, which means one should not rock back and forth or look here or there, no distractions. Everything, body, neck, and head erect, and stare steadily, unagitated with subdued mind. Now, is our mind subdued? Are we free from agitation? Are we devoid of fear? Are we free from sex life? Are we meditating on the Supreme Lord within the heart? Is Krishna the ultimate goal of our yoga practice? Unfortunately, for most people, they are servants of their senses, mind and senses. If the mind says, do this, the senses just rush to go and do that. There is no control over mind and senses. Sometimes we feel I am in control of my situation, but that is an illusion. Krishna here is giving us the process by which we can subdue the mind. Yes, Ashtanga or yoga is difficult to practice, but then he is giving us an alternative, which is just to do mantra meditation, because with that mantra meditation, automatically our mind will become subdued. Why? Because man means mind, tra means to free the mind of all anxieties. So Krishna, he is there in everyone's heart. He has already told us, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sanivishto. I am situated in everyone's heart, he says. And in this verse, he's saying, while doing this Ashtanga Yoga, one should meditate upon me. Meditate within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. So Krishna is there as super soul in the heart to guide us, to show us the way, but then we have to make the choice. Like he says, Sarvasya Cham Ridhi Sanivishto Mataha Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha. He says, from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. But we need to choose, what do we want from these three? Do we want to remember him? Do we want to forget him? Or do we want his knowledge? Once we make the choice, then he helps us. He will help us. But we need to figure that out. We need to have a goal in life. It shouldn't be that we are living randomly, just like there is a nice saying, simple living, high thinking. But usually in this world, people have high living and simply thinking, which means not thinking really at all. Not really thinking, who am I? Am I this body or am I the spirit soul? Why am I here in this material world? What is the purpose of human life? Am I supposed to be suffering all the time? Is there a way to come out of this cycle of suffering? Where do I go after I leave this body? So these are all the questions that an intelligent person should ask, should try to become self-realized, try to understand what is the purpose of human life. If we do not have a plan to become self-realized, then it'll be a waste of human life. Because then if we are doing the same four activities, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, which the animals also are doing, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then what is the difference between them and us? Not much difference, really. We have the philosophical intelligence by which we can inquire about the purpose of human life. So here in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is gradually, step by step, showing us the path to self-realization. But that path of spirituality requires a lot of austerity. There needs to be some training. There needs to be some restraint on the senses. There needs to be some control in the mind. So if one follows the Bhagavad Gita in a systematic way, then the senses will start working in the right direction. They will be, you can say, properly engaged. They will be properly engaged. So the goal of yoga means connecting or linking. The goal of yoga is to connect with the Supreme Lord Krishna. And as he is explaining the yoga ladder of karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, ashtanga yoga, bhakti yoga, he explains that bhakti yoga is the topmost rung of the yoga ladder, and it is the easiest process to follow. Let's see what Krishna has to say in the next verse, which is verse number 15. Excuse me. He says in the translation, thus practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. What a beautiful instruction. Very, very nice. So, what is the result of such practice that he has been talking about so far? To attain the kingdom of God, to go back to the spiritual planet of Krishna after giving up this material world. Now, what's the benefit over there? The benefit over there is there's no more birth and death. There are no miseries. There's only permanent happiness. There are 7 types of miseries, and none of them exist in the spiritual world. And if one really wants to go to, take that route to the spiritual world, then one needs to understand the super soul within the heart. You see, most Ashtanga yogis, what do? Their whole purpose of performing Ashtanga yoga is to have mystic powers. But the bhakti yogis, those who perform devotional service to Krishna, their only goal is Krishna. They keep, their minds are totally absorbed in Krishna. And how is that possible? Just by constant practice. There is constant control of the body, of the mind, and the activities. In other words, they regulate the senses with the help of mantra, meditation, and then they become qualified to go back to the spiritual world. There's a very nice description Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita about his abode. He calls it the Chintamani Dham. Chintamani is a very, very valuable stone, Chintamani. In the abode of Krishna, which is called Krishna Loka, there is no need for sun, there's no need for the moon, there's no need for the stars, because the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence coming out from the body of Krishna, lights up the whole spiritual planet. But to go there, we need qualification. We need to be qualified, because the spiritual planets, they are called Vaikuntha. Kuntha means anxiety. Vaikuntha means no anxiety at all. So if we don't want to be in anxiety, we just follow the instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita. A quick question: who is in anxiety? There are 3 kinds of people who are in anxiety. One is a control freak, one is a perfectionist, and the other is the enjoyment maniac. So let's talk about control freak. It's very stressful because wants to control everything, and in spite of trying to control, is not able to control. That's a control freak. A perfectionist wants 10 out of 10, wants everything perfect. Is that possible? Well, that's not possible. And what about the enjoyment maniacs? They don't want to think about anything at all, except I just want to enjoy. I want to enjoy. I need enjoy, even in job. When I go to see my boss, I want enjoyment. I want to enjoy. That is not there. So that all brings about anxiety. Only when we understand from the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarva Lokam Maheshwara. He makes it very clear that I am the controller, I am the perfectionist, and I am the enjoyer. That is the proper understanding of Krishna. And that is what we learn from the Bhagavad Gita. So when we start understanding the Bhagavad Gita and putting it into practice, then we start becoming conscious of him. And then it becomes easy to absorb the mind in bhakti yoga. Then we will be able to overcome this cycle of birth and death. That means no more coming back into this material world. Usually, the yoga practice is done for material benefits, but real yoga is not for material facilities. It is to enable us to stop this material existence, to start living in the spiritual realm, to start, and that is possible even while we are in this material body. It's possible. That is a stage of samadhi, or that is a stage of liberation, and it is a matter of consciousness. It's a state of consciousness. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching us that how we can perform real yoga, which is connecting with him, linking with him. And guess what? To connect with him, we also have a phone number. We can just dial that number and connect with him. And that is what has been given to us in the Vedas. And it is mantra meditation. And that with that mantra meditation, we will be able to remember and focus our mind on those sound vibrations that are non-different from Krishna himself. And that is how we will be able to connect with him. So it's important to understand that Krishna is the ultimate goal and the object of the yoga practice. Now, a perfect yogi is one who is completely absorbed in Krishna while performing all kinds of activities. A perfect yogi doesn't mean that he doesn't go to a job or he doesn't take care of the family. No, does everything. But in consciousness, that person is a perfect yogi. So perfection of yoga is freedom from material existence. And the easy process to do that is by concentrating on the sound vibrations, because sound vibrations, they affect our emotions, and these spiritual sound vibrations, they are divine, and they help us to reach that divine consciousness. So chanting the holy names of the Lord, it's recommended even in the scriptures, like the Kali Santanara Upanishad clearly states chanting this Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It is mentioned in the Upanishads also. In fact, even in the Bhagavad Gita. So chanting is recommended in all scriptures. And our supreme doctor, that is the Supreme Lord Krishna himself, has given this prescription. So it's very, very simple. The mantra meditation can help us to control our mind, can help us to control our senses, and even control, not only that, even our activities, whatever activities we are performing. We've already learned in chapter 3 and 5 about karma yoga, how one can perform activities in such a way that it does not accumulate any reactions. See, the problem that's happening up till now is action, reaction. Every action that we perform, there's a reaction. But the idea is to stop this cycle of action and reaction. So here in this chapter of Dhyana Yoga, Krishna is very nicely explaining how we can perform real yoga. Yes, Ashtanga yoga is good. If all of you are able to perform Ashtanga yoga, very good. But if it is difficult, then we can definitely try to understand the real purpose of yoga, where Krishna is saying bhakti yoga. In fact, the last verse of this chapter, Krishna says, Yogi nam api sarvesham. Topmost yogi, he's talking about one who's topmost yogi. Mad gatinantar atmana, the one who always thinks of me within the heart. And to be able to think of Krishna within the heart, to be the topmost yogi, sarvesham. Sarvesham means there's no one above. Perfect yogi, topmost yogi. He says we have to think within our hearts, think of Krishna. How do we do that? By chanting the holy names of the Lord. Because in Kali Yuga, our minds are usually very disturbed. there's a lot of agitation, there's a lot of frustration around, and to be able to calm the mind, it's important that there are some powerful sound vibrations. I'm just going to demonstrate just for a little while how we can do this mantra meditation. In fact, I will post some links, and I'll post at the bottom, there is this Maha Mantra. So I'll just chant for a few minutes, just, so that you can see how we can, somehow or the other, try to chant, do the mantra meditation, and be able to control the mind and the senses. So I had these chanting beads. These are holy beads called the Tulasi Beads, on which I chant every day. So I'll just chant for a few minutes to give you the hang of it. And the mantra is there in the chat. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So you see, it's very simple. There are 108 beads in this whole, all the string of 108. And it takes about 10 minutes, just about 10 minutes to complete chanting 108 times. And I've been doing this for many, many years, and it is very, very powerful. I'm telling you from my personal experience. So my humble suggestion to all of you is to please try and chant maybe just a little bit, maybe just for a few minutes, and then see, what is the result of this. You will be surprised that how it is possible to, control the mind and senses very, very easily. So I'm going to end now. If anyone has any questions, you're very, very welcome to ask, or if you have any comments, please